Okay, let's face it. Dark is one of those shows that just gets under your skin. It's captivating and confusing and completely addictive.
It really is.
It's no wonder everybody's buzzing about it and all its crazy timelines and families.
Yeah.
It's like a royal family or something. So we're going to take a deep dive into Season 2 of Dark and unpack its twists and turns.
Yeah, sounds good.
We want to shed some light on the things that have you scratching your head and hopefully help you understand it a little bit more
Absolutely.
and fuel that obsession that you have with the show.
The second season definitely ramps up the complexity. It's like the writers took everything we thought we knew from season 1
Yeah?
and threw it into a blender with a hefty dose of mind-bending paradoxes.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But that's what makes it so brilliant.
It does. It does. And just to give a little background, the show is centered around time travel and its consequences in a small town in Germany called Winden, I think.
That's right.
Okay, so first, let's talk about that 33-year cycle.
Yeah.
We know it's central to the show's time travel mechanics, but why 33 years? Why not 20 or 50? There's got to be more to it than just a random number.
It's not random at all, actually. The show draws this very fascinating connection between the 33-year cycle
Okay.
and the alignment of solar and lunar cycles.
Oh, interesting.
According to the show's logic, this very specific alignment creates a window in time, a cosmic doorway, you could say,
Yeah.
that allows for time travel.
So it's not just about some magical time machine. There's a cosmic element to it.
Absolutely.
But how does this tie into the themes of fate and repetition that are so central to Dark?
yeah.
Everything seemed to kind of repeat itself over and over again.
Yeah, that's where things get really intriguing. You know, this 33-year cycle isn't just about, like, the mechanics of time travel.
Right.
It's also this symbolic representation of the cyclical nature of all the events that happen in Winden.
Yeah.
Everything seems to repeat. It's like this echo across generations.
It is.
Same mistakes, same tragedies, playing out again and again and again.
Right. Like this cosmic loop that all the characters are trapped in.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's that whole bootstrap paradox thing.
Mm-hmm.
I get the basic idea,
Yeah.
but can you explain how that actually plays out in the show
Yeah.
for people who haven't really wrapped their heads around it yet?
Yeah, for sure. I think we see this most clearly with Tannhaus and his time machine.
Okay.
He only builds the machine because he receives these instructions
Yeah.
from a future version of himself delivered by older Claudia, but those instructions actually came from his own book,
Right.
which only exists because he built the machine.
It's a closed loop.
It is a closed loop with no clear beginning or end.
Right. So who really created the time machine? It's like a chicken or the egg scenario, but with time travel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, the bootstrap paradox highlights the mind-bending nature of time travel in Dark. It challenges this linear understanding that we have of
Yeah.
cause and effect.
It's not linear. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we get this huge bombshell dropped on us about Charlotte's parentage.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how much we were all wondering about her parents back in season 1?
Oh, absolutely. Big mystery.
It was like, where did this girl come from?
It was.
We find out in season 2, and it's pretty shocking.
Definitely shocking. Not only do we learn that Noah is her father,
Right.
but we also find out that Elizabeth, Charlotte's daughter, is also her mother.
Right. How is that even possible? It's mind-boggling. How can someone be both mother and daughter
Yeah.
to the same person? It's like their family tree is folding in on itself.
I know.
It makes no sense.
Well, it's a perfect example of how Dark uses time travel to create these paradoxical relationships that just completely defy our conventional understanding of what family is.
Totally.
And it really does underscore just how interconnected all these characters are
Right.
in
Yeah.
this strange looping timeline.
Yeah. And speaking of interconnectedness, season 2 really digs into those two main factions.
Yeah.
You've got Sic Mundus, led by Adam, who we learn is actually an older Jonas,
Folder Jonas.
versus Claudia's group,
Mm-hmm.
who seem to be working against Adam.
Yeah.
It's like a battle for the fate of time itself.
It's not even just a battle for time, it's a clash of ideologies.
Okay, yeah.
You know, Adam, he believes that the world as it exists is fundamentally flawed
Okay.
and trapped in this cycle of suffering, so he wants to destroy it and create a new world order, one that's free from all the constraints of time.
Okay.
Claudia, on the other hand, she believes the world can be saved.
Right.
She wants to preserve the timeline, even with all of its imperfections.
So Adam's like the ultimate nihilist.
Yeah.
And Claudia is this determined optimist.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just like a good versus evil situation, is it?
No, it's not.
I feel like there's got to be more to it than that.
Their motivations are way more complex.
Yeah.
That it's never black and white and dark.
No.
We see these glimpses of humanity in both Adam and Claudia. You see moments of vulnerability and doubt, and it suggests that their motives are a lot more nuanced than they first appear. And then, of course, you've got all these other characters like Clausen, Hannah, Ulrich, each with their own agendas and desires that further complicate the picture.
Yeah. They all have their own reasons for doing things.
It's true. And it's fascinating how all their actions, even the ones that seem insignificant, can have these ripple effects that just cascade through time.
Yeah.
Influencing the past, the present, and the future.
Yeah, it's like a giant game of cosmic dominoes.
It is.
One wrong move and the whole thing comes crashing down.
Exactly.
And speaking of crashing down, Jonas's journey to the future in 2053 was pretty intense.
It was.
What do you think was the significance of that whole storyline?
Well, I think that trip to the future was definitely a turning point for Jonas. It was there, in this desolate wasteland of post-apocalyptic Winden, that he realized just how catastrophic the events that he's trying to prevent really are.
It's like he didn't really get it.
Yeah, I think he had an idea, but I don't think he really understood the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the discovery of the God particle.
Right.
This very powerful time travel tool that just adds another whole layer of complexity to the story.
Right. It's almost like the show is saying, okay, you thought time travel was complicated. Wait till you see this. But Jonas's attempts to change the past don't really go to plan, do they?
No, not really. I mean, he tries to save his father, thinking that that's the key to breaking the cycle, but
it kind of backfires.
It really backfires in a spectacular fashion.
That scene where he travels back to 2019 to stop his father's suicide, it's just heartbreaking.
It is.
Because he thinks he's doing the right thing, but then he actually becomes the catalyst for the very event that he's trying to prevent.
A tragic twist of fate.
It's like the show is telling us that some things are just destined to happen, no matter how hard you try to change them. But is it really all predetermined? Where does free will fit into all of this?
That's the big question, isn't it? Dark raises all these profound questions about the nature of free will versus determinism. Are we really in control of our choices? Or are we just puppets on strings?
Right.
Acting out a pre-written script? I think Jonas's whole journey, especially his struggle to defy fate, really forces us to confront this question.
It does. And while Jonas is grappling with destiny, his grandfather, Ulrich, is having his own time-traveling adventures.
Yeah.
And they're not going so great either.
No, not at all.
His journey takes him back to 1953, where he ends up trapped in a mental institution.
I know. Talk about a bad vacation.
Yeah, poor Ulrich.
Yeah.
I mean, his story is tragic. He's driven by grief and rage over the disappearance of his son, Mikkel. So he travels back in time to confront Helge, the man he believes is responsible. But his actions have unintended consequences.
Yeah.
And he finds himself imprisoned.
Yeah.
In a time that's not his own.
That scene where he reunites with Mikkel in 1986, it's so heartwarming.
It is.
And just gut-wrenching all at the same time.
It is, because they're so close to escaping together.
Yeah.
But it's like fate has other plans for them.
Always. It really highlights this cruel irony of time travel, doesn't it? You have Ulrich so desperate to be reunited with his son.
Yeah.
And yet their reunion is bittersweet because he knows he can't bring Mikkel back to the present. It just drives home this idea that while time travel might seem like it offers us this possibility to change things, it often just leads to more heartache and despair.
Right. It seems like everyone in the show is making choices that they think will change things for the better, but just end up making things worse.
Yeah, it's true.
And then there's Claudia.
Oh, Claudia.
Who really emerges as a fascinating and complex character.
She does.
In season 2. What do you think about her arc?
I think it's one of the most intriguing parts of this season. I mean, you see her going from this skeptic to this master manipulator.
It's true.
You see her journey across all these different timelines, learning all these secrets of time travel, and becoming this, like, formidable player in this cosmic game.
Yeah, she's like a chess grandmaster, always thinking several moves ahead.
Absolutely.
But what are her true motives? Is she really trying to save the world? Or is there something else going on?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
I mean, on the surface, she's presenting herself as the savior,
Right.
the one who wants to preserve the timeline, prevent the apocalypse. But her actions are often very morally ambiguous.
They are.
She's willing to sacrifice individuals for what she believes is the greater good. And then, of course, you have her death
Right.
at the hands of Noah, which just adds another layer of mystery to her character.
Right. Is she truly gone?
Right.
Or will she find a way to manipulate things from beyond the grave? I mean, Dark constantly reminds us that death is not the end.
Absolutely.
Especially in this world.
Mhm.
The lines between life and death, past, present, future, they're all blurred.
They are.
So, okay, we've got Jonas wrestling with fate. We've got Ulrich trapped in the past. We've got Claudia playing this dangerous game of time chess.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you have that impending apocalypse looming over everything. How does the show actually build up to that catastrophic event?
It's like a slow-motion train wreck.
Yeah, it is.
We see Clausen's investigation uncover Alexander's true identity,
Right.
which ultimately leads to the unearthing of those radioactive barrels in the caves.
Right. So Clausen, who is just trying to find his brother, actually ends up triggering the apocalypse.
In a way, yes. His actions set off this chain reaction, a cascade of events that, when combined with the activation of the God particle in different timelines, ultimately lead to the destruction of Winden.
Wow, talk about unintended consequences. It's like the show is saying that even the smallest actions can have devastating consequences when you're messing with time. So the apocalypse happens. Winden's pretty much wiped off the map. Who do we know for sure survives this cataclysmic event?
Well, we know those in the bunker.
Right.
So Claudia, Regina, Peter, young Elizabeth, and eventually young Noah.
Right.
They're all safe. And then there are those who time traveled out of 2020.
Right.
Like Stranger Jonas.
Right.
And that group of teenagers.
Right. But the fates of others, like Katharina, Ulrich, remain uncertain.
Totally. We don't know.
Yeah, it's like the apocalypse is this giant reset button.
It is.
Shuffling the pieces on the board, leaving us to wonder who will emerge from the chaos and what their roles will be in this next cycle.
Exactly.
But before we get to that, we have to talk about that jaw-dropping final scene.
Oh, yeah.
Just when we thought we'd seen it all, another Martha shows up, seemingly from another world, and whisks Jonas away from the apocalypse. What in the world is going on there?
I know. It's a game changer. The introduction of alternate realities throws everything we thought we knew about Dark into question. It's like the writers are saying, okay, you think time travel is mind-bending? Hold on to your hats because we're going on a wild ride through the multiverse.
Seriously, my brain is still trying to process all of that. So now we're not just dealing with time travel, but also parallel universes.
Yeah.
It's like they took this already incredibly complex puzzle box and added a whole new dimension to it.
Exactly, and that's what makes Dark so brilliant. It's a show that constantly challenges our perceptions of reality.
It does.
Pushing the boundaries of storytelling.
Yeah.
And leaving us with way more questions than answers.
So with the introduction of alternate realities, Dark throws a whole new wrench into the works.
Yeah.
And we're left with more mysteries than ever before.
We are.
I know, right? And I love it. It's like they're challenging us to piece together the puzzle and figure out what it all means.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm here for it.
I think that ambiguity is a big part of the appeal of the show. It invites us to speculate.
Right.
And come up with our own theories about the nature of time, free will, and now alternate realities.
It's a lot to think about. So where do we even begin to unpack all of this? Season 2 left us with a mountain of unanswered questions.
Yeah, it did. Well, I guess let's start with Sic Mundus. We know they're obsessed with controlling time, but what is their endgame? Adam believes destroying the world is the only way to break the cycle, but is that really the whole story?
Right, and what about those missing pages from Claudia's notebook?
Oh, yeah.
What secrets did they hold? And what about the characters whose fates are still kind of hanging in the balance?
Yeah.
Did Katharina make it out of the caves? Is Ulrich still stuck in 1953?
Right.
And what about Hannah, living her best life in the past?
Yeah. Exactly. Will she play a bigger role in the future?
Yeah.
It just adds to the intrigue.
Yeah.
It's like the writers are intentionally leaving breadcrumbs and inviting us to follow the trail, to come up with our own theories.
It's true. It's like we're all part of this giant dark think tank trying to unravel the mysteries of Winden together. But, you know, beyond the mind-boggling paradoxes and the tangled family trees, what is it about Dark that resonates with us on this, like, deeper level?
Yeah.
Why are we so drawn to this complex and often confusing world?
I think Dark really taps into some fundamental human anxieties.
Yeah.
We're all grappling with the passage of time, the consequences of our choices, and this question of whether we really have any control over our destiny. And I think the show takes those anxieties and
Yeah.
it amplifies them, showing us a world where time is fluid
Right.
and choices have these far-reaching consequences, and fate is this fickle mistress
It is.
who plays with us all.
Yeah. It's like holding up a mirror to our own lives and asking us to consider the choices that we've made,
Mm.
the paths that we've taken. And it makes us think about those ripples that we create in the world and the legacy we leave behind.
Exactly. And even if we don't have time-traveling teenagers or cosmic apocalypses in our own lives, Dark reminds us that we're all interconnected. And our actions, no matter how small they seem, can have a profound impact on others.
So, as we eagerly await season 3, we're left to ponder all these infinite possibilities: time, choice, and alternate realities. Will Jonas find a way to break the cycle?
Right.
Will the world be saved or destroyed? And what role will this other Martha play in the grand scheme of things?
Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Dark has left an indelible mark on television. It's a show that just stays with you,
It does.
long after the credits roll, prompting you to question everything you thought you knew about time, reality, and the very nature of existence.
And that's why we're obsessed with it. Dark isn't just a show, it's an experience, a journey into the depths of human nature and the mysteries of the universe. So if you're looking for a show that will challenge your mind, keep you on the edge of your seat, and leave you with more questions than answers, Dark is definitely worth checking out. And if you're already a fan, well then you know what I'm talking about. Subscribe to our channel for more TV recaps. We'll be back with more deep dives into your favorite shows soon.